What's going on, everybody? It's your favorite dating coach, Elliot Scott, and as you can see by the title below, we're going to discuss the different stages. There's three of them, okay? The different stages a guy goes through, what he's thinking about along the way of you being silent, pulling away, knowing your worth, tired of his BS, right? And doing your own thing, okay? So, jumping right into this. This is the foundation. I have to talk about this part. I do talk about it a lot in my videos. Do not go past this. This is foundational. It's going to set up everything else on why he's thinking what he's thinking, okay? So, first stage is him not giving a shit. Now, again, I know you probably don't want to hear that, but hear me out, okay? So, when you're talking to, I always tell women this is the most important thing. When you're talking to a guy, or the lack of, you're not talking to him anymore. You're pulling away because he's doing some BS, whether he's pulling away himself, he's inconsistent, he says something and does something completely different, like his actions and words don't line up, and you're done with them, right? You have to understand what I call like the prologue, like the before all of this bullshit, okay? There's a reason why you're pulling away and why he was doing what he was doing to get you to pull away, okay? So that's why I have this question mark here. It's like, well, what was happening? What was going on? And a lot of the reasons why a guy pulls away or acts indifferent or says one thing, the reason for all that is the following things, okay? So down here, I have what I think are the two most important things, and that's variables and context. If you guys want to know the difference between them, variables, let me back up. So context is the things that you guys do and say over time that kind of layers up and creates context of the situation, meaning it's usually moving towards something a little more serious. And variables are those things. So variables can include the pace, hooking up, consistency, future planning, love bombing, not talking to others, I don't know, meeting friends and family, a million things, okay, can create context. Those variables can create certain types of context. His mindset would be another thing, meaning, okay, let's say things are going well. The context is building up. We're talking, we're consistent, we're only talking to each other. Things are going well, we're hooking, whatever. And he gets in his head. I'm freaking out. I feel obligated to give her something that I can't give her. I overpromise, underdeliver. Emotionally unavailable, yada, yada, yada. The guy starts pulling away. And then, of course, the power dynamics of the whole thing, meaning if a guy feels like he has a lot of power, he might take you for granted. He might pull some bullshit and come back around because he knows he can, right? There's many different reasons. Now, based on all this, you're going to get certain variables or certain outcomes, okay? So this is the most math we're going to do ever on this channel here, but for a guy to pull away, it's because of certain variables. For a guy to have a certain narrative, it's certain variables, certain things, okay? For him to have a certain thought process or to know what he's thinking and why he's thinking these things, it's certain variables. So let me put something on the screen right here to give you an example. If you're talking to a guy who is pulling away, the variables could be simply, it's moving too fast, maybe he overpromised and he's emotionally unavailable. If you have a guy with a particular narrative, maybe that narrative is him wanting space while you're trying to get clarity, so you guys have this disagreement or this miscommunication where he feels like you're needy. Again, so he's wanting space. Another thing, what is he thinking or why he's thinking these things? He maybe feels obligated to give you a relationship because he overpromised and he's talking about future and exclusivity. He feels that pressure. He doesn't want that pressure, so he pulls back, right? Now, here's the important part. With all that being said, you're like, okay, cool. I understand that, dude, but I'm tired of all the BS. I'm tired of the back and forth. I'm tired of you saying these things and not following through. So I'm done. Well, okay, cool, as you should be, by the way. But this causes the cycle here, okay, this little cycle where, okay, let me back up. There's this prologue, there's this stuff going on before, which creates this outcome, which has him pull away and then or do whatever it is, and you're like, okay, cool. You know what? That's great, dude, but I'm done with it. Well, here's the part. I guess I could have just jumped to this in this part of the video, but he doesn't give a shit, ladies. I mean, he might, right? Because I have a lot of clients who've been coming to me lately like, why is he still looking at my stuff and we haven't talked in 2 months? Why is he doing this when he says he doesn't want a relationship? But at the end of the day, you have to understand he doesn't truly give a shit compared to what he's going to give a damn about later in these videos, because he has this narrative. Again, goes back to what I said in the beginning. There's a reason why he's pulling away, and there's a reason why you're pulling away. Okay, so he doesn't really care how you feel about it. But again, I just really wanted to put this on the board first because it sets the groundwork for how things are going to unfold later on. I just want you to know right now in the beginning, he probably doesn't care because he has this narrative in his head on why he's doing the things he's doing, meaning he's looking at the consequences or knows the consequences. Yeah, I know this isn't the best thing I should do, and he does it anyway, okay? So then you're going to try to play this game where it's like, okay, dude, it's not, maybe not even a game. You're like, okay, dude, I got you. I'm done. And then you pull back, which then brings us to the next stage. Okay, now we're talking about stage 2, which is unfortunately playing games. And the reason I have it in quotations here is this is just what I believe. If you have a guy who is doing these things over here, which we'll work our way over here, but just a little foresight. If you have a guy who's playing games, ladies, in my opinion, I don't think he wants a relationship. And it's simple as this. If you got a guy who truly likes you, he won't put himself in a position to lose you. You always hear me say this, but hear me out. Humans are risk avoidant creatures, right? Risk adverse. I say it in all my videos. I apologize. But you really have to understand that what's the point of playing these games if I know I'm an emotionally available, healthy-minded individual who wants a relationship and we're getting along, right? Things were going well. The only problem is me being an effing idiot right now, right? Or I'm unsure about you. But if that's the case, and like I said, then I don't know if I want a relationship. So a guy's playing these games and doing these things over here. And the reason he's doing it, ladies, is because, and again, I have this in other videos, I had this little timeline I always talk about, which is, well, he's not necessarily saying, be gone, woman, I don't want anything to do with you, or vice versa, right? But at the same time, he doesn't want to be a couple. He doesn't want to be in a relationship. So guys do these things, this sporadicness, this coming and going, these things that give you hope, right? I always say hope is the anchor that keeps you at shore. These things that keep you around so you don't feel the regrets, right? So you're like, no, I'm done with this dude. And then a month later, you regret it. He does these things that give you the little light, light at the end of the tunnel, a little bit of hope to keep you right here in the middle, meaning he doesn't have to make a decision. Well, I'm not going to cut her off completely because I might regret it because I like the assets, but I'm not going to commit to her either. Even though because I feel obligated to do so and I feel the pressure, but no, I'm just going to keep her right here with the things I'm doing and saying, the sporadicness, so she sticks around and I can make a decision later, right? I can do this later. So with all that being said, do you remember those variables I talked about in the previous section? Those come into play. Okay, the context and all that comes into play. And the reason for that is the simple variable, ladies, that you have to remember, right? The power dynamics between you two, meaning who has the power, plus the variables equals your position. And when I say power, to keep it simply, I'm going to put some on the screen here. It's whoever can do less and get the same desired results. Yes, it's unhealthy, but it's the truth. And the variables that affect power are the things I have listed here: giving him multiple chances, more than he deserves, obviously, taking him back, saying you're only talking to him, being exclusive, putting up with his bullshit even though you should be gone, giving him assets at a low cost, so on and so forth. Doing that stuff, okay, is going to create remember I talked about narrative, he's going to have a narrative in his head that he feels like a king. He feels, hey, I could do this stuff because, again, we're risk avoidant or risk adverse. I can do this stuff and not really lose her, okay? Because I know she likes me, she wants a relationship, yada, yada, yada. I'm going to keep her right here in the middle and see how it unfolds. Now, of course, you're not going along with this. You're like, nah, dude, I'm done with this BS. I'm done. Well, that's what you're saying, and it might be true, But this is where the bluff game comes into play. Meaning, okay, I hear you, girl. I see you. You're done. But I have no reason to believe you because up to this point, you have given me more chances than I deserve. You have put up with my bullshit. I know you want a relationship. You're not talking to anyone else. The average person just can't throw away 2 or 3 months like we have, right? Like, I know you want it to work out. I'm just acting like an idiot. So I feel like I have the extra or the upper hand because I know you like me and you want a relationship, and all I have to do is, roll over and give it to you, right? So he has what you're looking for, unfortunately. But that's where we're playing the buff game or the bluffing game, and that it's all about reactions. Meaning, you guys are going to do the following things. You're going to stall, meaning, just wait to reply. Maybe not reply at all. Maybe you're like, I'm done. Viewing each other's stories. I have a client right now where this guy hasn't seen her in a month or two, but he's still looking at her stories. She's like, what's going on? What? Leaving each other on red, maybe unfollows, maybe you're posting stories to make the other person jealous. I have another client right now that's going through all that type of stuff. But this goes back to what I said in the very beginning of this section, which is I feel listen, I'm sure you're listening to this and you're probably like, I'm going lesbian or I'm going to just buy cats. Like, it's not worth this much effort. You're 100% right. Not only are we risk-averse creatures, we are resourceful creatures. Why is the guy going through all this if he actually wants a relationship with you when the reality is, right, the why? Here's what I think. He wants the assets, right? That's what it is. At the end of the days, ladies, you're talking to a guy who wants the assets at a good, I don't know why I put it all the way over here, but just for room, I guess, at a good cost. So what does that mean? He doesn't see you as relationship material, but at the same time, he might not. He might regret it, which we'll get into the next section, but he might not see you relationship material, but he still wants the assets, hence why you're still here in the middle and he's not cutting you off. So he's renegotiate. Again, that's what a game is. A game, and to me, not in terms of psychology or whatever, but dating psychology, the way I teach it, a game is just a renegotiation. Because think of it like this. If you're talking to me and I don't want a relationship, but you're like, hey, Elliot, no strings attached. I just want you to go raw dog, pound town, that's it. Don't worry about it. No strings attached. We're good. Don't worry about me getting attached. Like why would a guy not do that then? If he's unsure about a relationship, but he wants the assets you offer, why would he not do that? Well, because there's a cost to it, right? Like, no woman benefits from that. For the most 99% of the time, a woman does not benefit from that. She wants, a relationship. She wants investment. She wants long-term. She wants courtship, okay? And all those things, like everything he does, meaning, okay, we're talking, we're being consistent, we're saying we're not talking, again, context, the stuff I talked about previously. We're not talking to anybody else. Like I said, we're consistent, meeting friends and family, future planning. Like, it builds that narrative in his head, and he realizes, oh, crap, okay, I guess if I keep going along with this, I feel obligated to give her something that I can't give her. Again, you hear me going full circle. There's so many ways I could just go full circle with this, and then you end up like this, okay? But again, it's him playing games because he wants assets. He's calling your bluff thinking, hey, I know you pulled away for the third time, or I know you said this for the third time, but I've been BSing you for the third or fourth time, and I'm still around. So why not one more time, okay? Now, the next section, we're going to talk about what it actually looks like when you follow through and he realizes, oh, man, I messed up. What am I doing wrong here? Okay, now, ladies, we are talking about stage 3, regret, with a question mark, right? Now, here's why I have a question mark. So, if you follow a lot of my stuff, especially if you're watching a lot of my videos on getting a guy to come back, regret, stuff like that, I always say regret is self-inflicted, meaning I have to realize, oh man, I was in a really good position. I had a really good chick, a really good thing, and I effed it up because I took it for granted. I pulled some BS, whatever, and now I'm in a worse position than I was previously, right? Sounds like common sense. But here's the thing, ladies. For a man to regret, he has to realize he screwed up. If you are giving him chances, remember I was talking about the variables and him having the power and you giving him more chances than he deserves, him coming around and him still, being the number, or coming and going and still being the number one option, him getting those assets for a very low cost, him not investing, you hoping he sticks, all these things that give him power. If you do not break that, he will not think differently. Okay? He will not think differently. So I tell a lot of my clients that because of that, there's two stages that a guy has to kind of go through, or like levels of thinking, in order to realize, oh man, I screwed up. And for it to go to the second level, which is where you want him to be, you have to hold your ground. Ladies, you have to hold your position. Meaning, in the first stage, it's what we talked about previously, the game, right? You guys are doing this whole bluff reactionary thing, but he's actually winning still. And I'll talk about why right here in a little bit, but he's still winning because he knows he has you. He knows this is a game. He knows it's an easy fix, meaning all I have to do is just come back around and say, I'm sorry, I'm this, I'm that, I screwed up, yada, 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 and I'm back in, right? All he knows, he has to just pay a little fine, and it starts when he wants it to start, okay? Now, the reason for this is what I call the mask. So, at the end of the day, if two people are in conflict, and let's say the man actually doesn't want a relationship, he likes you, he likes the assets you offer, but he doesn't really want a relationship, okay? However, the reason you're pulling away or you're done with it is because you want a relationship, but you're tired of the games. So when you're playing this whole bluff thing with each other, this trying to get a reaction or the power dynamics, when you're doing all that, you're doing it for different reasons, okay? You might be acting like a bad bitch. You might be acting like a hard ass. You might be acting like you don't give a shit, but you do. So you're essentially playing with fire. This is why I tell women, you have to hold your ground. Because what ends up happening is, sorry, my voice cracked there. What ends up happening is women will try to play the game back. Oh, you want to make me jealous? I'll make you jealous type of thing, right? Or you want to leave me on red? I'm going to leave you. She'll do that stuff. But when he does it back to her, she gets upset. She gets in her head. She freaks out. She this, she that. When she says, I'm done, and he goes to talk to another girl, she starts DMing me. And I'm like, well, you got to pay for a session. What are you doing? Like, I don't, whatever. Like, they start, you all start going watching my videos, which I like. You all start coming to my DMs and asking me a bunch of questions and this and that and freaking out. And it's like, hey, listen. Don't play the game if you can't play the game. I know I hate saying that, but ladies, if you're going to pull away, people are going to disagree with me on this, because maybe you should do it either way. I can see an argument for either or, but just hear me out here. If you can't play, don't play. Meaning, if you're like, okay, I'm done with you, whatever, but you have no history of ever being done with him, you're more likely to crack. That's why he's doing what he's doing in the first place, because he knows you're not going fucking anywhere. Why would he believe you? Your words mean shit because you have not done it before. You always cracked, right? And he knows it's because of the mask, meaning you guys you're acting like you don't care, but he knows you do. When in reality, he actually doesn't give a shit, at least in terms of a relationship, right? So you have to hold your ground, ladies, for a guy long enough, meaning introducing new variables. Remember, I talked about variables, okay? But these variables are ones that aren't showing you got power, or I like you, or thanks to build context. Now these are ones that are showing I'm done with you, meaning you're not replying. You're not hoping he comes back. You're actually done. This is why I tell women, play the game if you know you can win, meaning you're actually done with the bullshit. Like, you're actually done with it. And again, it means you're not replying. You're actually, let me put it like this. if you can't block him, if you can't unfollow him on things, you already lost. Why are you watching this video? Like, click off and just like look at yourself in the mirror and be like, okay, well, you already lost. If you can't unblock a guy, or you can't block a guy or unfollow a guy, you already lost. Now you might say, well, he can't do it to me. Yeah, but it's not the same thing. He don't give a shit. No one gives a shit if he can do it to you or not. He obviously doesn't want a relationship with you, or he would have one right now, right? He would be in one with you right now. So what he's doing is, he's just keeping tabs on you. Doesn't mean he wants a relationship with you. So completely different things. A woman's value in dating, I hate to say this, is based, the way she upholds her value, right? Just like, we, in terms of buying anything, it's at a price, right? That's how it upholds its value. It has that price tag on it. Not saying women are on the streets, putting price tags out there, but what I mean is, a woman needs to uphold her value by putting a price, which is a courtship, on her time and who she's intimate with. If you're entertaining this clown who doesn't deserve it, you're going to get treated as such, okay? And like I said, you're not going to get next to the second level. So you got to introduce new variables like, hey, I'm done. I'm actually done, dude. I don't care who you're dating. I'm not looking at your stories. I'm not replying to your texts. I'm leaving you on red. I'm unfollowing you. Like you have to look like you're actually done. Then, now here's the point of the video title at least. He goes down here to stage 2. Well, again, this might happen with time. He realizes, oh man, I effed up. She's not coming back around. These are different variables than what I've seen previously. I am actually losing her. And then regret, right? Big question mark, kicks in. Now, if you want to go from here to my other video on how to get a guy to regret losing you, I have a bunch of videos on that, or the stages the guy goes through for regret. I guess that's a little tag on from this video. But at the end of the day, this is all the BS, unfortunately, you go through if you're sticking around with a clown who is not, it's crazy, because I'm going to go on my rant here, ladies. If you don't want me to talk shit about you guys, you better click off now. But it drives me crazy that so many women blame men for wasting their time. And I just laugh because I'm like, how's he wasting you're wasting your own time. It's cognitive, he's a clown. He's pulling some bullshit. Ladies, I will literally have 4 or 5 sessions with one client. Right now, sorry, not one client. With a client over one guy. That's what I mean. A bunch of my clients do this. But I will have 4, 5, 6, 7 sessions with one client over one guy. Okay, and I'm telling her, this is going to happen. She likes giving me money, I guess. Like, she doesn't listen, right? And again, I'm not yelling I am yelling at you about, I'm not upset or anything. I understand you're human. It's easier said than done. But what I'm getting at is, you can't say a guy is wasting your time when he is showing you signs that he is not capable of a relationship, and then you stick around thinking different. I don't know why women do that. Again, well, I do know why. The psychology, like I said, easier said than done. But stop playing a fool. Stop being a fool, okay? It is what it is. But with that being said, ladies, now, despite all of that, I hope you still want to get a session with me. And if you do, or you want to get my free guides, 9 free guides, links down below. I'd love to work with you. Or like I said, you can get those guides for free. Ladies, I love you all. Take care. Stop giving these clowns a chance. If you want them to get here, right, you got to master this part. Let's put a little star there. You got to master that part. He has to realize, oh man, I'm effed up. This is a high value woman. She's putting value on her time and who she's intimate with. She's done with me. And that's how you get him to regret it, okay? That being said, ladies, I love you all. Take care and peace.